Hey, everybody. It's another Mac to the Future Livecast. We'll see how things go wrong this week. Hopefully it won't. We got some great stuff for you tonight. There's a new nasty Flash adware out there. iOS is number one for recent OS installs, and more new math and even more new math. This is the Mac to the Future Livecast. Okay, hey, ow, I just hurt my hand. I just hurt my hand on the desk. I shouldn't do that. See, if things don't go wrong technically, they're going to go wrong medically. That's just how it works. And as usual, I have Mr. Warren Sklar. How are you tonight, Mr. Sklar?
Yeah, hello. I am good.
I like the headphones.
I literally just found them about a minute before we started and plugged them in. They're my son's, I think.
So you're basically stealing technology from your son.
Well, you can see I'm in a different room, so I've been banished to a certain room that obviously has hidden treasures in there. So I stole the microphone.
Well, yes. Welcome to my world. This is why I have the man cave in which to do my podcasting genius. My place is where my laptop is like home is where the heart is. My man cave is where my laptop is. So wherever that goes, I go. Frank is saying that
you put a mic cover on. Sounds good.
Oh, darn it! I don't know why it does. Every single week, I go to put up people's comments, and Ecamm Live changes the position every single time. I don't know why. It really should not do that.
So the mic covers help? Like if I put this cloth over here, does this do anything?
Well, I've got two kind of filters here. I've got this filter, and then I've got this filter. This one is mostly for, I guess, to protect the microphone, more or less. The orange one is for like plosives with T's and S's and P's and all the rest of that.
I feel like I'm like about to do a magic trick.
And the microphone.
It's a microphone.
It's there. Oh, huzzah! Okay. Yeah, you guys didn't know it'd be a show as well, did you? Dinner and a show.
I did not know either, to be honest with you. So anyways, yeah, I'm good. And you are?
I'm Guy Searle.
Yeah. Other than that, how you doing?
I'm actually doing okay. Things are relatively quiet. I am still voila. Yeah. Okay, Frank. I don't know if that's quite how you spell that, but good enough. Things are quiet here. Things are going okay at work. Ow, I just did it again. I'm really seriously going to hurt myself before this show is over. Yeah, thank you. I'll be here all week.
That's good. Yeah, we're all good. Yep.
We have a couple things to talk about. Was there anything? Now, I have actually not been on Facebook all that much over in the Mac to the Future site. Is there anything going on over in Mac to the Future that I should be concerned with?
Nah, it's been quiet. It's a quiet week. Couple of questions about the Martin Prince Price. He posted something that got a heated debate, which was basically in a nutshell, he was saying that Tim Cook in particularly is spending too much time with public appearances and pleasing the masses, meaning the consumers who are buying the stuff in bulk, or the main consumer, blaming Cook for being more of a showman than catering to what Apple should be catering to, which is the pros, always with the pros stuff. Everybody wants the pro stuff. So
Yes, well, thank goodness Steve Jobs never did anything like that.
Yeah, I mean, they're still, that argument's not going to die. It's never going to die. And basically it comes down to Tim Cook is not a showman. He's not like Jobs. And at this point, they're just going to continue doing what's making them money. And that's selling. It's everything, but selling services, selling iPhones, that's what's making the money. Creating a fully customizable, powerhouse Mac is not their priority. And it was maybe 10 years ago. It's not now. So that's, that's what it is.
And also, I mean, part of what his job is public relations, and whether that's in front of consumers or in front of other leaders of industry or governments or wherever it is that he's needed, part of what Cook is supposed to do is public relations.
Here's what I picture Cook as. Cook is basically a yes man to the shareholders and the public, with the ghost of Steve Jobs' in his ear whispering things. And that's what he goes by. And when he thinks that, he tells people what they want to hear, but they make decisions based on what he remembers Steve not wanting to do. And, that kind of come down to the whole touch screen is all Jobs. It's completely Jobs. Jobs once said, "You're never making any Mac touchscreen," back in that day, and that's where it's going, and that's Cook. Basically, he is a yes man. He's a good leader, but he's a yes man, and he always has just the little whispering voice of Jobs here and there, like on his shoulder, like the devil or the angel, just telling him things here and there, or a parrot. So, that's what he is. And I think that's what Jobs wanted too, but, just something that, he's going to make the buyers happy. He's going to make the shareholders happy. His job is not to make everybody happy, because he can't.
No, nobody can.
But they do come out and say promising things. They say they are going to concentrate on the Mac line. They say they are going to not merge the iOS and Mac line,
which makes me happy.
Yeah. So he does say things that people get happy about. And then it seems like for the past few years, it seems like the rumors get everybody all up in arms and crazy and mad. And then, what Apple says, it sounds like they have to calm people down like every 6 months with some kind of statement. And that's what it's been like. And that's what, we'll talk about that today too. But that, I know it's terrible. But anyways, that's been the hot topic. And
okay. Well,
we won't go into it.
We sort of will. We will. And we kind of did. But we do have a couple of main stories to talk about. One is a particularly nasty Flash installer, which obviously isn't a real Flash installer. And instead it delivers malware. This is a story from 9to5Mac. I keep wanting to remember to put these links into the comments so that I can click on them. Oh, wait a minute.
That sounds right.
Why didn't it? Oh, there it is right there. I thought it didn't come up. There we go. Okay. So it's from 9to5Mac.com. This is a fake Flash installer called Crosswriter. Now, it seems to me that calling a Flash installer nasty ad malware may seem a little redundant, but to relatively new users of the Mac platform who don't understand that for the most part, Flash is no longer needed for most of the internet, and even when it is, you probably still don't want it. There are some adware removers that will make short work of most infestations like this, but this one has kind of a nasty trick up its sleeve. It changes the homepage for Safari and Google's Chrome to one that is dedicated to one of its choosing and can be very, very hard to remove. This variant is called Crossrider. If you are caught by it, you can check the link in the show notes, which is right up there at the top of the screen, for ways to remove it. However, the absolute best way is to just not install Flash in the first place. You don't have Flash installed, do you, Warren?
Oh, I do. Yeah, I do. I have Java and Flash.
What browser do you use? Is that with Safari or is that with Chrome?
I use Firefox. So
right now, what?
I go back and forth.
I have a Firefox story.
Okay.
And I should have mentioned this. I did the My Mac podcast live last week with Gaz.
I saw that.
And when I went to review the video that I thought was being recorded by OBS, what I found instead was just the mymac.com logos with the blue background that I used as like a static image. And it didn't record any of the video. It had all the audio, but it didn't record any of the video that Gaz and I had recorded. So
I saw that too. You had to convert it down from Facebook, you said, right?
Right. I had to get it off of Facebook, but it didn't seem like there was a quick and easy way to do that with either Safari or Chrome without installing these plugins that seem to have dubious dubious origins, and we're asking for like all kinds of permissions to do things that was really making me quite uncomfortable. So I researched it a little bit more, and I found a way to do it, but it only works with Firefox. And what you basically do is you get the URL for that particular video that's on Facebook, and then you take out the www and put in an M instead, start to play it, stop playing it, and then from Firefox, with right click, you can download the file into your downloads folder and then do whatever you want with it. Now, obviously, it wasn't as of good quality as I would have preferred, but at least I was able to get the video. And the only way to do it was with Firefox.
So you could have done, if you wanted, you could use the Facebook download tool, which will download everything you ever posted to Facebook, including one of those videos would be there too.
Really? Where's that at? I wasn't aware of that.
Yeah, that's the thing that they're advertising out now because people want to see what information they're putting into Facebook. But if you go on the web page, if you go to Facebook,
I'm going to open up a new window here for Facebook.
Okay.
Because I don't want to disturb what else I got going on. Okay, I got Facebook up.
On the top right, the little arrow down, you click that. Next to your notifications up on the very top, go to settings.
Settings, okay.
Okay, and then we are going to do. This
is fascinating. I was not aware of this.
Where is it?
Let's see. Security login, privacy, location,
yes.
Posts, public posts.
No, it won't be posts. There's going to be a place to say download. Download everything.
Videos?
Nah, download. Hold on. Now I got to find it. Download Facebook info. Okay, download it. Here you go. Help center. You ready? All right. So you go to the settings, click your Facebook information. So click on settings and your Facebook information. Do you see that?
No, I do not.
Facebook.
Is that on the left-hand side?
Your Facebook information. Settings. Your Facebook information. I'm looking at
Is it under general?
Settings. Click on your.
Oh, here it is. Download a copy of your Facebook data.
Yeah, where'd you find that?
That was under general. Go to general, and then under the very bottom of general account settings.
There it is. Yep. Okay.
Okay,
So,
I'm not going to hit it right now because I don't want to start that.
No, I did it once. It was a couple gigs. So
like all your pictures, all your video, you can't do it to a specific video.
You can't no, it's everything, but it is everything that you ever put in there. So it's
God, I don't want that.
I downloaded it. It comes in like a zip file, and it was like it was like 5 gigs. I'm like, I'm just deleting this. I don't need that. But so that's a way to do it. But anyhow, I downloaded it and didn't want to look. Flash. Let's talk about this virus or malware kind of thing.
Yeah.
So what it's doing, from what I read, is if you go on your Mac and you go to System Preferences and you go to, we're looking for profiles, just like a iOS profile. Where is it?
That should be under what? Users and groups?
Where does it put the profiles? Let's see. Login items. Might be security and privacy. All right. We'll look for it. We'll put a link in there. But there's profiles that come under there's profiles that you could install on a Mac just like you can on an iOS device that companies will use to lock down machines. And when you get those profiles, it will
substitute your standard
profile with
native
their profile.
page, the native page that comes up when you open up your browser with a URL of their choosing.
Yeah,
and it's really hard to apparently get that off.
It's user configuration profiles is with it. Apple. Okay, so it's Apple System Preferences and then profiles somewhere. Did you see it?
No, I didn't. And I plugged profiles into the search bar. We'll see if we can find it later.
We'll find it, but that's what it's doing. So it's installing a profile that locks it down, so you have to get rid of the profile.
Right. Now, if you absolutely have to use Flash, the best way to do it, in my opinion, is to just go ahead and use Google Chrome, which has the latest and greatest version that is available for Chrome built into the browser. They maintain it, they update it, and it should work just fine. If you're a regular Safari user, just don't, we're at the point now where there's really very, very little that still works with Flash. I mean, pretty much everybody has moved off of that to HTML5. So I just don't even see the need. If something like that pops up, then chances are it's a bad thing, and you should not click on it and install it, regardless.
All right, so Brian is saying that if you don't have any current profiles installed, you won't see the preference pane. So I'm assuming once it does this, it will come out with the profile pane. All right, so I'm not going to go into Flash good, Flash bad at this point. It is what it is. Some websites just do need it, and if you get it from Adobe and you install it and you keep it updated, you're fine. Because then people come up on the Facebook pages like, I need Flash, but you told me not to install Flash. I don't know what to do. I'm like,
go to Chrome.
Either use Chrome or install it.
Yeah.
The other part of it is with this malware is, and I was reading the comments about it too, is it could be any. I mean, Flash is just the thing they gave it, but it could have been.
Well, that's what they use to try to trick you into installing it.
Right, because people are still doing it, but once people figure out that once you tell people not to install Flash, it will just be something else.
It'll move on.
It will just say something else. It will say like Adobe Reader or something like that. So people are doing
stupid things
with Flash. People are doing it because the websites say in order to see this, you need to install Flash. So that's what people are doing to install Flash. In the back of their minds, they're like, "Oh, I kind of know what that is," and they do it. But it would just be. It has nothing to do with being Flash. It's just what they use to trick people into doing it. But yeah, use Chrome if you want, or install Flash if you want, and just run the malware check every so often. So, you know, I hate telling people to be afraid of it. To be honest with you, it's just
Well, it's hardly even really needed anymore. If you're addicted to, I mean, I guess there's still a lot of like Facebook games and things along those lines, but that comes with its own set of problems. But
it's not just
let's not go down that rat
Flash.
hole.
We have to have Flash on there. You have to. No, I mean, you know what?
Flash bad Flash.
Like Ed says, if you need Flash, make sure you go to Adobe's webpage directly. Don't install it from some place you don't see it, and install it from them. And if you want to, be sure that you could get rid of it when you're done. Peace.
I'm such a genius.
Yes. Okay, next up. iOS 11 is currently on 76% of all devices. Android the latest version of Android is on 4.6. This is a story from Mac Rumors. And once again, I am just not on the ball here. And oh, come on. God, I swear, sometimes Facebook just, never mind. I'm not going down that rat hole. According to this story from Mac Rumors, iOS users continue to upgrade their devices to the latest version, while Android users are stuck in the past, literally, since many Android devices, even if they meet the hardware requirements to update, are restricted by local carriers or device manufacturers, or worse, both. Go.
I don't know. Android.
Yes, Farrago is in my arsenal. Beware.
Yeah. All right. So what are we talking about? Well, Android. Yes. So the reason why obviously is because there are many providers
of
Android devices,
Android makers, carriers.
So basically, it's always the same thing. Sony's like, we're not going to install updates on these devices, and we need to test them for 2 years. So they test that for like a year, and then the next one comes out. So they're always behind. So when Apple does it, Apple tests for all their devices and they roll it out. When Android does it, every single maker of these devices have to do their own internal testing. They just can't roll it out.
But why do they have to do that?
Because all their hardware is different.
It's not even so much their hardware. It's that their interpretation of what Android is. The biggest problem to me with Android is that they're, other than if you buy a Google Pixel or whatever they're calling their Android phones, you don't get pure Android. You get some variation of Android that either the carrier or the manufacturer of the device wanted to put on, because the problem is when you get right down to the brass tacks of it, there's no real difference between 90% of what these phones do and what these phones are. So the only way that they can differentiate themselves from each other is to use these different skins and to add in these little non-Google approved processes. Mm-hmm. And what happens, Google goes ahead and updates to, cupcake Oreo ice cream sandwich. And for standard Android devices that are using the pure version of Android, sure, you plug it in, you download whatever the latest version is, including security patches, and you're good to go. But when you're talking about phones from Samsung and Huawei, Hawaii. I actually have some friends right now. This woman and her husband. I went to high school all the way through elementary school with this woman, and her husband are in Maui, and Allison Sheridan from the Nosilicast and her husband Steve are also in Maui. So I've been sending messages to the two of them saying, yeah, you guys should get together. And of course, I mean, it's not going to happen, but I just thought that was so bizarre that people I have known for a significant part of my life on complete opposite ends of the coast, because Allison lives in California and the woman that I'm speaking of lives in South Florida. Both ended up in Maui, Hawaii at the same time.
I mean, Maui's not like, Chattanooga, Tennessee. It's pretty popular. People do go there. So, I mean,
really?
It is, of course,
what's the draw? What is the draw? Okay, sorry, I can't keep a straight face for that. I've been to Hawaii. Well, I've been to the Big Island. I've been to Honolulu. I actually had a job where I was doing a particular thing, which I'm not going to talk about, and I had to go like 5 times in 2 years in the early aughts.
Drugs?
No.
Okay.
But my kids were little, and it seemed like from the 5 times that I went over the course of 2 years, at least 3 of those times was when the weather was really, really nasty, and it was getting cold and snowy and all the rest of that. And by like the 3rd or 4th trip, when I was told that I had to go, and I'm not complaining because I loved it, but it was like, oh God, how am I going to tell my wife that I'm going to Hawaii for a week again over the, and again, I mean, I was only there maybe a month, 2 months prior, and here I am, I'm going again for another week. And it got to the point where I would get home and I would be talking to her and I said, yeah, well, they want me to go again, and it's a long trip and the big time shit. And she just looked at me, pointed her finger in my face and said, shut up. I don't want to hear it. You're going to go, you're going to enjoy it, and you're going to leave me here with the kids and this crappy weather. And it's like, yes, dear. Okay, dear. I mean, there's really nothing that you can say, because it was job related. It wasn't like it was like, okay, I'm going to go to the beach. You stay here with the kids. See ya when I get back. I'll send you a picture of the Mai Tai that I'm drinking. Yeah. No, you don't do those things.
No, but Maui is beautiful.
It is.
What can I tell you? Yeah,
we've
been there. If you go in the summer, the waves are not good. Just so you know.
Well, I went. Did you go to the Big Island? I know we're so off topic here.
We went to the Big Island. We stayed in Big
Honolulu?
Island, and then we went to Maui. We did both.
There's you got North Beach, of course, and I was in my early 40s. Now, having grown up in South Florida, I was like, yeah, I'm gonna go to North Shore, yeah, and I'm gonna swim out to those big waves, and I'm gonna body surf. And I got out there, and I actually started to go out into the water, and where I was, the water got deep really, really fast. I mean, I was no more than 30 feet off the shore, and the water was over my head. And there's big, huge rocks and everything else. And that's very tiny, tiny part of my brain that is dedicated to survival was like, Guy, you really don't want to do this. And then the other part of my brain is like, yeah, man, but it's North Shore. It's like, no. Turn your stupid ass around and get back out of the water, which is what I ended up doing. But there was a beach on the other side of the island, Sandy Beach State Park, that had, I mean, the waves were typically 5 to 10 feet out, but they weren't like so far out that you needed to book a day cruise to get to them. Yeah. So that I was able to do. I was able to at Sandy Beach, but I was looking at the waves at North Shore, and they're like hundreds of yards out. And it's like, no, this just isn't going to work.
It's rough. I lost a pair of very nice sunglasses there in that ocean.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah. All right. Let's get back on topic now.
Okay. Well, real quick, because
Frank is like, are you a travelogue? No,
yes, we are. Yes, we are.
Today.
As a matter of fact.
Yes. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, all right, so iOS is on 76%, Android is on 4.6%, and iOS is better. There's actually another story about this, but we're going to talk about that when we come back from the break. And as a matter of fact, we're going to take a little break right now, so everyone just kind of hold on, and we'll be right back.
This is Private Eye Macintosh, and I'm here to tell you about a book written about me and my search for the Maltese Cube.
Yes, it's a fine book. I think you should get it.
Quiet, you. It combines technology, Mac trivia, action, murder, suspense.
Oh, just tell them where to get it.
I'll get to that. Romance, film noir detective fiction.
I can't stand it anymore. It's called The Maltese Cube, and it was written by my Mac writer and podcaster Guy Searle.
Find it on Amazon. It's only $2.99 and coming soon to the Apple's iBook store.
Don't forget, it's The Maltese Cube and so inexpensive.
You know you're not in it, right?
I'm in the next one, right?
Sure thing, Louis. You know, this could be the start of a beautiful friendship. Get the Maltese Cube on Amazon and soon in the iBook store.
Okay, we are back. Sorry about all the travel talk. We were just... I like travel, you know.
Somebody mentioned Hawaii, and that was all we needed.
And that was all we needed. Hey, Michael Lacey is in the house. Yeah, you should go and get the Maltese Cube. It's one of the finest things I've ever written. No, it is not. But there's news about that I don't believe I've shared on this show, but I'm not going to talk about that right now. We have two more stories to talk about. One is from Canalys.
What is a Canalys?
Canalys is I believe it's like some kind of, they advise people on stuff.
Cans? Does it have anything to do with a can? I've never heard the term, seriously. So.
Oh, well, like I said, it's a site, you know,
okay.
that does a thing.
Okay. All right.
But, you know, they analyst site. Well, there's some real interesting math going on. Canalys declares with no real evidence to support it that Apple will only sell 14 million units of its flagship iPhone X and therefore are doomed. They make no mention of how many iPhone 8 and 8 Plus phones were sold at the same time, or that Apple still rakes in most of the profit to the tune of 85% to 15% for the rest of the market. The same report says that Samsung had a great first month with their flagship S9 series by shipping 8 million units. Never mind that Apple's numbers equals sales and Samsung's numbers equals shipped.
So I did the math. So 14 million phones at $1,000 each is 14,000,000,000,000. Was that 14 trillion? Billion. It's gotta be billion.
Yeah, it's got to be billion.
It's a billion. All right. So they made 14 billion on.
That's sales.
Sales.
But you can basically take about 35 to 40% of that, and that's their profit. But it's still it's a crap load of money.
It's like 6 or 7 billion. Yeah. That sucks.
Yeah. Wow. I mean, what are they going to do?
I don't know. I don't know what they can do with that.
Now, everyone's numbers as far as smartphones goes for this year, for fiscal year 2018, not everyone's, but pretty much across the market, everyone's numbers are down. So we're probably getting close to a saturation point within the established markets for smartphones. So at that point, what typically happens is you'll have a race to the bottom of most of the major manufacturers to expand into smaller, less penetrated markets, India, parts of the Middle East, Africa, South America, Central America. And those markets, and this isn't meant to be or sound degrading or anything along those lines, but they typically don't have the kind of money that would allow them to spend $1,000 on an iPhone X. Hi, Joyce. That's my cousin Joyce.
Hi, Joyce. Hi, cousin Joyce.
Hi, cousin Joyce. I love talking to people.
They definitely, So the emerging markets and the third
in Oklahoma. Okay, Thanks, Frank.
So what we're saying is the poorer countries cannot afford the higher end phones, which is probably true.
Right.
That's probably true. But the analysts or the Canalys are doing this with pretty much everything Apple sells at this point.
Yeah.
And it's we could go by some facts, but
there isn't any. Apple hasn't had their FY18 quarter 2 numbers delivered yet. Right. So we really don't know how many iPhone 10s or how many iPhone 8s or 8 Pluses or 7Ss or whatever. We do not know how many phones Apple has sold. And we won't until Apple releases their numbers. What all of these people are basing these numbers on are rumors from parts manufacturers that supply the parts that make up the phone to the actual manufacturers of Apple's devices, which are various companies in China, Taiwan, South Korea, so on and so forth. And that's what they're basing all of this on. There is nothing whatsoever that has anything to do with reality in what these people are saying. And we don't know if they're right or wrong. It's all rumors. But they present this as being factual, which in turn affects the stock prices of the companies that they're reporting on.
Right. So and we've went over that too, where we think maybe they're artificially lowering the stock price, knowing that when Apple releases their numbers, they're going to be good and they'll shoot back up and they'll make some money on the stock. And maybe that's intentional. Who knows? But, it's just, it's eventually, if you keep reporting the same thing every day, eventually it will become true. It will happen. So
and then you can sit there and say, "See, I was right." And the thing is, none of these analysts' feet are held to the fire when it's proven that they're wrong, because everyone has moved on from whatever stupid story that they've done. And I really wish, and maybe there's someone out there that keeps track of. And I'm not just talking about Apple stuff, but just what these analysts are saying in general. However long it is before the actual numbers are known, and then comparing those numbers to the numbers that when annual reports are released, and how closely they actually align with reality. I don't think that there's anyone that's actually doing that.
No, I know.
And there should be.
There's some analysts that are known to be more accurate in things. Who's Minchi Kuo? Is that one? There's this one guy who makes these predictions almost Nostradamus-ly like, and he's got a fairly good track record. He has some kind of insides, but for the analysts, no, I don't know of any. Nobody's ever said, Maggie Smith from blah 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 has been right all this time, and she's good. There's nobody known to be good at predicting this kind of stuff. So, as you said, it's just based on rumors and
so it's complete and utter BS.
It's BS, yeah. I mean, the other story was the HomePod, right? So the Apple the iPhone X is selling. I think we all know it's selling. The HomePod maybe not as much.
Well, certainly not in the same kind of numbers, but it's a different market. Right.
So of course all the doom and gloom stories about the HomePod are coming out too. So if I sit here and say, list every Apple product and say this is going, the numbers are bad and it's doing horrible, I'll probably get one right. I guess, that,
And that'll be the one that you hold up later on.
Yes. See, I told you the red iPod Touch wasn't going to sell. I told you.
That was my report that said that.
Not the red one. Don't touch the red one.
Stay away from the green Twizzlers. They're not good.
Stay away from the green iPods.
All right. Well, we got more new math. This is our last story of the evening. Unsubstantiated numbers from last year versus unsubstantiated numbers from this year somehow prove that iOS 11 adoption is trending downward and that this is some kind of problem for Apple. This is a story from Business Insider, which I will put into the links and pop up there on the screen. Wow, it's like magic. Essentially, Business Insider is saying that because adoption rate for devices that are capable of running iOS 11 is running at 76% this year versus 79% for iOS 10 last year, that this is somehow a trend. So apparently numbers after only 1 year of 3% or less equals a trend. And Apple is in big trouble. Big trouble, Warren.
Yep. So yeah, a couple hundred people did not upgrade to iOS.
Well, I'd say it was more than considering that
Couple
they're selling
thousands
50
made.
to 100 million phones a year.
Yeah.
3% is still a really big number. But again, consider that only 4.6% of Android devices are on the latest version. And the fact, 3% when you're talking about these kinds of numbers between 76% and 79%, that's within statistical indifference. It doesn't really matter.
And Brian stole my thunder on this one. I was about to say the same thing, but the battery issue definitely caused that 3%. People who would have gone to a newer phone with iOS 11 point whatever may have not done that this year because they want a cheaper battery put in their phone to give them another year or so, which will stay on, and their phone will stay on 10 point whatever. So I'm sure that's the reason why the 11 adoption is lower because of that. But there's other factors out there that, Apple Watch and HomePod, for the most part, won't work properly. I don't think you could actually use HomePod unless you have iOS 11. Apple Watch.
Yeah, but the HomePod, it hasn't exactly been jumping through the gate in everyone's house. So
right, but what Apple's doing though is, you have to be on the latest version of the software to use the ecosystem properly with other Apple devices, whereas Android doesn't necessarily have that or need that to do it.
Either that or it just won't work at all.
Right. So
on the Android side, and you won't know that until after you've purchased whatever it is you're going to purchase.
Right. So there's not a big push to update it, but if they ever get these iMessage in the cloud, the iMessage in the cloud, or the AirPlay 2 going, things like that are coming, that 3% will bump right up because people want those features, and you need the latest versions of the operating system to get them. And if people are lazy, they're not going to do it. People are lazy, and people read on the internet about one person out of 1,000 having a problem when they did the update, and they're like, they'll come up to me and
it's a trend.
They'll come up to me and say, Warren, I was going to update my phone, but I've read on the internet that this update is bad. I'm like, and this happens to me all the time. And I'm like, you could read on the internet that anything is bad, no matter, puppies.
Puppies are awful.
Yeah, you could read anything is bad. So, that's what happens. So people hear this and they don't update, and that's why they're gone. But And to be honest, iOS 11 wasn't the cleanest of things Apple's done.
Yeah, no, it definitely had problems.
Yeah.
Now I was using a iPhone 6 Plus until it basically stopped working at all. I had no intention of upgrading my phone to an 8 or the 10 until my 6 Plus stopped working. And of course, it's long out of warranty, and I could have gotten a replacement for it for $350 to $400, but I wasn't going to spend that kind of money on a 4-year-old phone.
No.
So just like, okay, well then I'll get the 8.
Yep.
That's what we got for this week. Relatively quick. Peter Cohen usually tells yeah.
I mean, we're going back to 10 years with that kind of stuff too, where 10 years ago nobody would install releases or service packs or patches until, I had people say
wait release.
0.1 or wait a month or something like that, because it used to be bad. I used to be in a Windows Microsoft world a lot more, and I used to manage servers. And back in the day, you could do like an update on a server, and you would be very, very sad the next day.
You'd be a sad boy,
you'd
a
be
sad puppy.
But it hasn't really been like that for the past, couple years.
There's usually issues, but I mean,
it's far.
When you're talking about millions upon millions of people downloading software onto millions of different types of devices, there's eventually someone is going to have a problem. Even if the update was absolutely perfect, even if they got it in a complete form with no problems, sometimes it just doesn't work.
I've seen the updates actually bring out a problem in the device that wasn't there
before, right?
Well, it was there. It just wasn't being, seen. I mean, my son's phone, I did an update on it, and the antenna stopped working, and it was broken. So I know I'm an IT guy. I know there's nothing on the software side that's actually kind of physically break hardware. It just doesn't work that way.
But the hardware depends upon the software to operate.
Right, but if it's physically, I can't run a OS update, and my keyboard. If my keyboard catches on fire after doing an update, it's not because of the update. So hopefully, I think
it has nothing to do with your cat with a magnifying glass over your keyboard in the sun. Okay.
Anyhow, yeah.
MacStock 2018, it's now coming up onto its 4th year. It's going to be on the 21st and 22nd of July of 2018, just outside of Chicago in Woodstock, Illinois, at the McHenry College campus in Crystal Lake, Illinois. The facility itself is gorgeous. We're going to have some great speakers this year. Dr. Mac Bob Levitas is giving the keynote. Tim Robertson and myself from My Mac and Tech Fan and so many other things are going to be there. We'll be doing the My Mac quiz. Total cost for everything. I was talking about Allison Sheridan. Sorry, I was talking about Allison Sheridan earlier. She's going to be there. Wally Chewinski. So many other great people are going to be there. And besides doing their talks on whatever the subject is, many of these people will also be doing deeper dives in a more intimate location. And there's a couple of separate rooms that are being set up to do these deeper dives. So if you've gone before, you need to come again because it's going to be great. It's the camaraderie that you can't get from any other technology company. There's something about being Apple users that make us draw together and act like crazy fools. Your total
in a sad way. A very sad way.
It can be sad. Yeah, it can. Your total cost for the conference, not including transportation and lodging and food, can be as low as $189. We're still in early bird pricing, which total cost comes down to $199. There's a coupon code MTTF bonus 10, which will take off another $10, leaving your cost at $189. Besides the conference, you'll also get a T-shirt. There'll be the Saturday night wing ding that Barry Falk is putting on. There's going to be lunch every single day. There's going to be a Friday night thing, and chances are, after the conference is over on Saturday, there'll be some other thing that happens. Though you may have to pay for that yourself. But it is going to be so very, very much fun. You can check out all the information on this conference by going to Macstock Conference and Expo. Macstockconferenceandexpo.com. As I burp all over my... See, this is why I've got this screen to protect my microphone from myself. Warren, I guess you're on the book faces over there in Back to the Future?
Yeah, I'll be here until they kick me out. So.
Well, at this rate, who knows how long that will be. I'm surprised they still let me in.
Speaking of which, do a search, all of you, if you can, do a search for bad lip reading for the Mark Zuckerberg Congress interview thing. It's very good.
Okay.
How about you? Where can people get you?
Oh, my goodness. So many different ways. You can find me, Guy at mymac.com, probably. And I have verified that Guy at mttfgo.com does work. I do see those emails. You can also find me on the Twitters. I am Mac Parrot. And we have, Warren, we have a Skype telephone number. Sort of.
I hear. So I heard. Yes.
Sort of. Yeah. You know, it's the same number we use for the MyMac show. And, you know, don't worry about, about getting crowded calling this number. Because apparently the vast majority of the Western world has managed to avoid using it so far. But if you do call our number, which is area code 703-436-9501, I will almost guarantee that it'll either be on the MyMac show or it'll be on this show in some form or another, because I have the secret weapon.
A little fight you. I like that.
And that is Farrago by Rogue Amoeba. You can also help me out somewhat, and there's been a number of people that have... Ooh, I got an itch. There's been a number of people that have done it lately, including Mr. Sklar there. You can buy me a coffee over there in ko-fi.com, ko-fi.com. Look for my name or Mac Parrot, and I will show up there. You can do the Patreon thing, patreon.com/Mac Parrot. And I guess that's going to do it for tonight, Warren.
Yep. I just posted the link to that video that I told you about. Frank was asking. All right. Yeah, I'll do it.
So thanks for coming on. I appreciate it once again.
That's you for having me. Oh, hi. I'm still here.
Thank you, Warren.
Thank you for having me.
And
it was something.
Thanks to everyone who has managed to stay with us over the last nearly an hour. Can't believe it. We really appreciate the fact that you take the time to watch and listen to all the craziness that is the Mac to the Future livecast. And we shall see you, if I can do this right, next week.